See, stress is God's way of training you. But what most people do is, see, once you get stressed, you don't want that no more. So now you give up, you through. Nobody likes stress. But in order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it. But guess what? In my mind, it doesn't make sense that to grow something, you should dig a hole and cover it with dirt. But see, dirt is necessary. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. But see, when you're getting put under that stress, see, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. When people talking about you, dogging you, stealing from you, talking about you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They're building character. You got character now. Because now the seed sprout open and start coming through the dirt. See, you want to be successful, well, then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt. You got to come out, then you sprout, then you become a tree. Next thing you know, you got fruit. So when you under stress, take the stress for what it is.
Stress is an indicator. It lets you know you're at your limits. It does not mean that you cannot do it, but it does mean you have to change something. You have to change structure or strategy. And the one thing that you can count on is there will always be change. Whether it is good change or bad change, there will always be change. And generally there will be both. But you learn as much from your failures as you do from your successes. I think one of the most difficult things that can happen to people in leadership is to step into leadership that you didn't grow and that you didn't groom because you don't know where the issues are. We often, when we select leaders or we want to evaluate people or we want to choose staff, we quickly want to know about their IQ because we're trying to find out in a nice way, are you smart? The second thing that we really need to be asking is your EQ. I'm talking about your emotional quotient. Because many times you can have people on your team and on your side who have the intellectual ability to do what you're trying to get them to do, but they do not have the emotional wherewithal, and you don't know it till you get on the ride. It's like me. You know, I think I look like a fairly strong, macho guy, and I am. Until you put me on a ride on Six Flags. I mean, I turned into a little 5-year-old girl in the ride. I'm not good on the ride. I'm good going up. It's the going down that drives me crazy. What you want to know is, can you handle the down ride? Do you have the emotional maturity to go through the highs and the lows of what it takes to be successful? Because if you're going to be successful, you learn from the lows how to ride on the highs. So if you can't take the dip, you can't take the climb. Not lose your head, not freak out, even though you want to. You can do it on the inside, but on the outside, you have to maintain your cool. Because there is nothing as frightening as a frightened leader. I don't know anything about flying a plane, but this is how I evaluate the trouble on the plane. I've gotten used to turbulence. I've flown all over the world, and I don't get nervous until the people up front get nervous. If you have somebody conveying a message with panic and terror, you just start freaking out. That's what happens when you hire somebody who has the IQ but doesn't have the EQ to handle the ride, who freaks under pressure, and they just fall apart under pressure. But here's the thing that is most important, and there is no test for it. Their AQ. AQ is your adaptability quotient. How do you respond to change? When you hire somebody or you move into a position or you open up a company or you start a business, it's a lot like getting married. I know she looks beautiful today and everything is wonderful and he's smelling good. He just came from the barbershop and everything's just great today. But do you take this woman to have and to hold for a better or for worse, in sickness and in health. But you're saying I do to something that you've never seen. I could deal with you sick, but I didn't know you got hateful when you got sick. I didn't know that when we get broke, you're going to freak and panic and move out and go back to your mother, for better or for worse. And so I'm saying I do to some blank circumstances, and I'll spend the next 20 years trying to figure out, do I? And that's a lot like going into business, and that's a lot like being successful, and that's a lot like hiring people. You kind of get some kind of flow, and we say, do you? And they say, I do, and then you hire them, and then you think, do you? And let me tell you, I'm not sure which is the most challenging, the ride up or the ride down. Because success can be just as daunting as failure is. If you can't adapt quickly enough to it, you will lose it. A blessing isn't a blessing if you can't handle it.
We all love to be blessed, our business taking off. We meet the person of our dreams. But here's the key. The blessing doesn't come by itself. But with that blessing is going to come opposition, criticism, people that are not for you. The question is not so much, can you handle the blessing? The question is, can you handle the persecution? All your friends won't be happy when you get that promotion, when your business increases, when you get engaged. Don't get upset. It's not about you. It's about the blessing on your life. If you can handle the persecution, then God can trust you with the blessing.
You could be praying to win something that you can't handle if you get it. What you need as a leader and as a thinker is not just the success to get there, but the success to stay there, sustainability. How many of you have ever seen a dog chase a car? And maybe the dog gets lucky and catches a car at a red light or something like that, but there's one thing that the dog never considered. I can't drive. You might be chasing after something that you can't run. It's not just about getting there, it's sustainability after you get there. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get it. I don't care what comes in my way. See, you do that, make faces in the mirror, get yourself ready, go get it. Get it. Get it. But can you run it after you get it? So the whole issue, the only thing that should be stable in your ride to success is you. And if you're not a person who can be stable in the ride, you shouldn't get in the car. So what do you do when it's bad news? The best thing to do with bad news is to deliver a clear message. Clear messaging creates clear expectation, which avoids disappointment. It is not what happens to you that matters, it is how you handle it. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Because things happen to you in life. And many times when those things happen, you want to give up.
Sometimes it goes well. Sometimes it gets in a knot. The last 6,000 years reads like this: opportunity mixed with difficulty. It isn't going to change.
But like I always say, life is 10% what happens to you, is 90% what you do about it.
And the reason is because what happens to about everybody. And I found out that the same things can happen to two different people. One gets rich and one stays poor. Why is that? It's because it's not what happens, it's what you do. I've fallen out of the sky so many times. But it's not the happenings, it's what you do about it. I used to blame the weather, and I discovered it rains on the rich. The only way it gets better for you is when you get better. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life.
See, stress is God's way of training you. It's preparation. But what most people do is, see, once you get stressed, you don't want that no more. So now you give up, you through. I'm stressed, so I don't want, nobody likes stress because some people just let themselves go. But you got to, in order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. So you got to be willing to go get it every day. There's a story my father told me all the time. Now I've heard it several different ways, but I'm just telling you the way my daddy gave it to me. He said, son, he said, every morning on the plains of the eastern Serengeti desert, there arises a gazelle that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest lion, or he will be eaten and he will die that day. On that same desert arises in the morning a lion that realizes that he must run faster than the fastest gazelle, or he will starve and he will die that day. He say, son, the moral of the story is, no matter who you is, when you wake up in the morning, you needs to be running. No matter, and he said, no matter who you is. And so what he taught me was a work ethic of how to work. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to put yourself under some stress, though. See, stress is necessary. God is a trainer. This is what I done learned about it. See, I'm a seed. I really am. But a seed has to be planted. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it. If you take a seed and throw it on the concrete and walk off, the sun just burn it up. But guess what? Logically, in my mind, it doesn't make sense that to grow something, you should dig a hole, put it down in there, and cover it with dirt. Logically, that don't make no sense to me. But though. See, dirt is necessary for growth and development. Dirt builds character. Dirt gives you the push-through factor. Dirt makes you come with it when you don't feel like coming with it no more. And you get dirt in a lot of different ways. All of y'all that had dirt thrown on you. And dirt ain't always what you want. It's somebody talking about you down on your job. It's somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do. It's somebody telling you you ain't gonna make it. It's somebody sharing information about you that ain't true. That everybody get dirt put on them. But see, when you getting put under that stress, please know God is always working. Kirk Franklin's song, God is always working, so I smile. Because I know he back there. See, that dirt builds character in you. When they talking about you, it teaches you to withstand it. Then it gives you something to push through. So when you put the seed and you put the dirt on it, if you understand stress, stress really ain't just dirt. Stress, see, they don't call it dirt when they plant it. They call it soil. Because, see, soil has nutrients in it. What the nutrients, when people talking about you, dogging you, lying on you, backbiting, stealing from you, talking about you, they're actually putting nutrients in you. They're building character. You got character now. Because now the seed, if they put a camera under the ground, you'd have seen the seed sprout open and start coming through the dirt. Because the dirt is necessary so you can prove yourself. You know, if you don't really want to be, everything you see above ground that blossoms and plants and grows and that's beautiful, it was underground one time. All them potatoes, collard greens, they was underground one time. Them apple trees, they was underground one time. So they had to prove themselves. See, you want to be successful, well then you got to prove yourself. You got to push through the dirt. You got to come up through here. You got to come out, then you sprout, and then Bishop say, then you become a tree. Next thing you know, you got fruit. So when you under stress, take the stress for what it is. Don't get fooled. Don't just think, oh, man, Lord must not mean for it to be. What you tripping for? What you talking about? How you think you gonna be a plant, a tree, a flower, a bush, and ain't no stress? How you gonna get to be that without no dirt? I expect people to talk about me. Matter of fact, I look forward to it now. Do your thing, because if I can weather what happened to me and my family earlier, you can bring whatever you got now. There's some more stuff going around now that's about to happen. Bring it. Because now I have developed a character that is stress. I have soil, enough dirt on me that has provided me with nutrients. When I left college, I flunked out of college after 3 years. When I worked at Ford Motor Company, one of the last jobs I had because of the layoffs was they put me in the foundry. I learned a valuable lesson in the foundry because I used to be a foundry worker at Ford Motor Company. I'm now a spokesperson for Ford. Let me tell you how the flip went. A lot of people don't know, but in the foundry, they was making engine blocks. Engine blocks start with scrap metal. See, people, you think old cars just go away. No, they go to junkyards. Companies take this scrap metal and they melt the metal down. But it starts with scrap. They run it through a furnace, and when it gets in the furnace, they liquefy the metal. Then they take this metal and they pour it into a mold. This mold is the engine block. But when you pour it in there, it's just hot. It's just hot. It ain't nothing. And you think that you can't do nothing with that. But then something comes along and gets a hold of it. Something comes and gets a hold of it. It takes this hot piece of mess that was scrap. It lifts it. It dips it. It cools it. It refinishes it. It hardens it. And then it puts it on a conveyor belt. When it come out the conveyor belt, my job was to hit it with a sludge hammer and knock the loose flashing out. That's empty, extra metal on it. And then you have an engine block. The basic of any engine is the block. You got a cracked block, you can throw that engine away. It don't work. But the block starts from scrap metal. This really how God do it though. See, God takes scrap. All engine blocks is scrap. He takes scrap. Come on, Steve. Come on. He molded it. He pour into it. Then it come out, he cool it, he shaped, and he started putting stuff on it. He started attaching pieces to it. He put a manifold on it. He put the rocker arm on it. He put the exhaust on it. He put spark plugs on it. He put a carburetor on it. He put a fan belt, water pump, and he take it and he put it in a car. But all of it started when it was a piece of scrap metal, man. What we cannot do as Christians is just cause we the car now. You can't look at the dude that's in the furnace that's just wet liquid. That's a hot mess. You can't look back at the scrap pile and go, they just scraps, man. Cause what you don't understand is you got to have that scrap so you can make a block. So God can put stuff on it. So when you put it on it, you can be a car one day. I just want everybody to let everybody be a block, man. Let them be a hot mess in a furnace. Let them be a scrap, man. You ain't got nothing to do with that. That's God right there, man. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all.
Hey there, welcome to my channel, Based Strong Motivation. Today I speak Don't Crack Under Pressure 2024. Get stressed so now you give like stress, but in order to develop and to change and to grow, stress is necessary. A seed got to have dirt put on top of it, but guess what, in my mind it does not make sense that to grow something you should hole and cover it, but oh, see, dirt is necessary. Dirt builds character, gives you the push-through factor, and dirt ain't always what you want. Is somebody talking about, somebody accusing you, somebody sharing information, about getting put under that stress. See that dirt builds character in you. When that talking about you with teachers and talking about you actually putting in you, they are building a character. You got character now, because now the seed has sprout open and start successful. Well, then you got to prove yourself, you got to push through, sport become God. So when you under stress, take the stress for what it is. Stress is an indicator. It lets you know you are at limits. It does not mean you have something you have to change, structure or strategy. And one thing that you can, they are always, whether is it good and change, and generally there will be both, but you learn as much from your failures